This is one of the oldest murder stories humanity still tells. The victim, a king worshipped across an entire country. The prime suspect, his own brother. The motive, power. The murder weapon, a gift made specifically for the victim, and the body vanished before anyone understood a crime had taken place. For almost 4,000 years, we have called this the myth of Osiris. Strip away the gods, magic, and sacred symbols, and something else remains. It is a carefully planned murder. Most people know Osiris as the silent ruler of the dead, but Osiris did not always belong to death. Once, he was alive. He was the king of Egypt, and according to the myths, he was a king people genuinely loved. Osiris taught people to cultivate the land, gave them laws, and brought order to a divided kingdom. Under him, Egypt prospered. To his people, that made him the ideal king. To the man standing beside the throne, it made him an obstacle. That man was Set, Osiris's younger brother. Set represented the desert, storms, and chaos, everything beyond Osiris's ordered world. More importantly, he was close enough to know his brother's habits, use his trust, and approach him when no one expected an attack. He wanted the throne, not someday after his brother died naturally. Now, an open attack would leave witnesses and point straight toward the man who had most to gain from the king's death. So Set did not begin with a weapon. He began with an invitation. He threw a party. Picture a vast palace hall filled with wine, music, gold, and laughter. No one expects danger because danger looks like a celebration. And then the chest appears. It is beautiful, expensive, and impossible to ignore. Set announces a game. Whoever fits inside it perfectly can keep it. One by one, the guests climb in. Too long for one, too narrow for another. Everyone laughs and waits for a turn. From the outside, it looks completely harmless. But the dimensions are not random. Set has obtained his brother's exact measurements. This was never a game. It was made for one specific man. Every failed attempt is part of the performance. It makes the trap look familiar. It makes Osiris enter it willingly. And he does. The chest fits perfectly. Perhaps Osiris is still smiling. We do not know how much time passes between the laughter and the lid slamming down. But what happens next is immediate. Set's accomplices rush forward, fasten the lid, and pour molten lead over the seams. Seconds ago, it was a gift. Now it is a coffin. The chest is carried away and thrown into the Nile. The current takes it. By morning, the king is gone. There is no body, no tomb, not even a crime scene anyone can show to the people. This is not rage or an argument gone too far. It requires craftsmen, accomplices, timing, and a plan for the body. Set does not merely plan Osiris's death. He disguises it as entertainment and makes the victim enter the trap himself, surrounded by witnesses who understand too late. But making the body disappear serves another purpose. In ancient Egypt, death was not the end. With a preserved body and the correct rites, the dead could enter the afterlife. For a king, it continued his authority in another form. Set knows this. Osiris must have no tomb, no rites, and no family preserving his body. Death removes the king from the living world. Denying him burial is meant to destroy whatever he might become afterward. It is an attempt to erase Osiris twice, first from life and then from eternity. The plan might have worked, if not for one person. Isis, the wife and sister of Osiris, refuses to accept that he is gone. She has no witnesses, no body, and no reason to believe the Nile left anything to find. Still, she searches. In a later version, the chest reaches the coast of Byblos and becomes trapped beside a young tree. As the trunk grows, it conceals the king inside. The men who cut down the tree see only a magnificent trunk. It is taken to the royal palace and made into a pillar. Osiris's body now stands inside a foreign court. Servants pass it every day. Guests gather beside it. No one suspects what the pillar contains. The pillar is a tomb, but Isis finds it. She traces the chest to Byblos and recovers the body. At last, Osiris can receive what Set denied him: his name, his burial, and a place among the dead. This could have been the end. Then Set learns that the body has been found, and he commits a second crime. This time, there is no party, no game, no need to hide hatred behind a smile. Set finds his brother's body and dismembers it. Plutarch's later account says 14 pieces. Other traditions give different numbers. The purpose is the same: scatter the remains so they can never be buried as one body. The first murder takes Osiris's life. The second targets the very possibility of restoring him. This is escalation. Set has learned that a missing body can be found. One hiding place can be discovered. One body can be returned. Isis begins searching again. This time, she is not searching for her husband. She is searching for his pieces. With Nephthys, she follows traces along the Nile. Later, cities across Egypt will claim that a piece was found there, and shrines will rise around those places. What was meant to destroy his memory spreads it across the entire country. Set scattered the remains so the victim could never have a single tomb. Instead, all of Egypt became his tomb. In Plutarch's version, Isis recovers almost everything except one part swallowed by a fish. Egyptian texts differ on the details, but the central idea remains. Osiris is reassembled, wrapped in linen, and prepared for another existence. This is not a return to his former life. Osiris does not rise, return to the palace, and demand his throne. The world of the living is closed to him. But Isis preserves his name, his claim, and his bloodline. Through magic, she revives Osiris just long enough to conceive their son, Horus. This is where Horus enters the case. He matters as living proof that Set's plan failed. Set has the throne, but a legitimate heir makes his rule disputed. He can control the palace and call himself king, but he cannot change who Horus is. The murder meant to end the struggle for power merely passes it to the next generation. In a surviving Egyptian narrative, Horus and Set spend years before a divine council arguing over Osiris's throne. Beneath the contests and violence is a familiar picture. The man who seized power refuses to surrender it to the heir, while the court delays its verdict. Eventually, Horus's claim is recognized, but the sentence is strangely lenient. Set is not executed. Depending on the tradition, he is removed, exiled, or sent beyond the ordered world. He loses Egypt, but does not disappear. Chaos is not destroyed, it is pushed to the edge, and Osiris never gets back the life that was taken from him. He becomes ruler of the dead. The murder meant to erase him gives him authority that outlasts kings, dynasties, and Egypt itself. Can that really be called justice? The victim remains among the dead. The killer keeps his place among the gods. The consequences reach another generation. It is not a clean ending. Perhaps that is why the story survived. Beneath the gods and magic is something painfully human. A brother who decided one death was not enough. A murder disguised as a game. A body thrown into a river. A widow who refused to stop searching. And a killer who escalated whenever his evidence resurfaced. Set got almost everything he wanted. Osiris was dead. His body was destroyed. His throne was taken. But Set failed to erase the victim completely. The body was found. The name survived. The heir was recognized. And the crime meant to deny Osiris eternal life made him a god remembered longer than any king of Egypt. This was the first case in our series opening ancient myths as criminal files. For the real stories hidden behind the gods, subscribe, because this is far from the last crime history tried to preserve as a legend.